one, and go.
All right. So, a very warm good evening to one and all who have joined us. Welcome back, all of you, to yet another session, a very fun and exciting Kahoot quiz session, which all of you are very excited about. And welcome to the Cosmic Jaunt Mega Quiz session, where we cover up some of the exciting and fascinating concepts on astronomy and space science, especially those which we have covered up in the past cosmic jaunt sessions. People who have participated, they might be knowing that's a series of workshops that we conduct where we perform different kind of activities and we learn astronomy and space science through very exciting STEM-based DIY and activities. So talking about that, but anyway, even if you have not joined any of our Cosmic Jaunt workshops, you can still participate and of course, try to boast of your knowledge that you have. So before further ado, let's dive deep into the Kahoot itself. So let me just share my screen. So today's session, which we call Quiz It Up, it is actually the mega quiz, the Cosmic Jaunt mega quiz, and this is for grades 7 to 9. So we have divided our mega quiz into three groups. The groups for grades 2 to 3 and 4 to 6 is already done in the past couple of hours. I believe that who all had joined must have enjoyed the quiz and the session. Now it's time for the senior fellows to actually show me that what is the level of knowledge and what is the level of curiosity that they have with astronomy and space science. So as usual, let's just quickly go over the rules and the way in which the Kahoot quiz is conducted. So people who are joining for the first time, just, when we will be sharing the link in the chat shortly. So using that link, you can join the quiz. You can also scan the QR code, which I'll be showing in a couple of minutes. And once you join the quiz, it will ask you for your nickname. Although it says do not use your real name, please do use your real name so that we can recognize you. You can use just your first name also. That's completely fine. And when you click on OK, go, this is the screen that you will see. So once you are on this screen, do not click on anything else. Do not click on achievements or anything. Just stay over there. When I click on the start button from my end, the quiz will automatically start. Once the quiz begins, this is the way in which you will be able to see the questions and the options on my screen. That means over here on the YouTube or the Spacetopia Live. So you'll be able to see all the questions and the options. However, on your screen, this is how the options will actually appear. The questions will not be visible. The option colors will only be visible. So you have to actually carefully look at which color option is correct, and you have to choose the right color on your own phone or laptop from wherever you have joined the Kahoot. This is the reason why we usually suggest to have two devices. You attend the live through a laptop and you join the Kahoot quiz through a mobile phone. So it becomes very convenient. Although if you are quite professional, you can still open two tabs on the same laptop and do the same thing. One tab showing you the YouTube live, on the other tab, you can respond to the questions in the Kahoot itself. So I hope that that makes it clear how we are going to conduct. So with that, done off, let me just quickly, we have already shared the link to join the quiz in the chat. Let me just share my screen for the QR code as well. So here I'm showing you all the QR code. I'm enlarging the QR code. So you can scan this QR code and join the quiz. Alternatively, you can also, click on the link which we have shared in the chat right now. So you can check the pinned message in the live chat. You can join through that. And if you are not comfortable with either of these two methods, or if due to any reason these are not working, there's a third way that you can go to www.kahoot.it. So you can see on the top of my screen, it shows kahoot.it, or with the Kahoot app, you can go to this website or download the app, and it will ask you for a game pin. Enter this particular game pin, that is 1400413, and you will automatically join into the quiz. Once you have joined, just stay on that screen. So while you all are joining, let me just give you a brief about some of the exciting things that are coming up, especially in the next couple of months. So since it was International Asteroid Day a couple of days ago, 30th June is celebrated as the International Asteroid Day. And we had dedicated Kahoot sessions on that day as well, when we had actually, discussed a lot about asteroids, their importance, and all that. We had a couple of sessions as well. If you missed out, please do check out the video section of our Spacetopia page, where you will actually get to, witness a very exciting citizen science masterclass program, as well as a very fun and exciting DIY session that is based on asteroids itself. Now, talking about asteroids, we have dedicated workshops where you will be actually receiving a kit, the materials to actually do some DIY activity along with us. And you will be actually able to learn about asteroids, about space rocks, and all those concepts in a very fun, exciting, and interesting manner. And of course, we have curated all the different types of concepts grade wise. So if you are from grades 2 to 5, you will be given a different set of sessions. While if you are from grade 6 to 12, you can actually participate in an even more exciting challenge, which we call the IASC. So it is called as the International Asteroid Search Campaign. So if you are checking this page out, you can you can get the links to these pages in the description of this video right now. So in the YouTube and Spacetopia descriptions, you can get them. We'll also put up the links in the live chat as well. If you go to the ISC's page, it will show you that what exactly ISC is. And in brief, ISC is basically a global citizen science program where you get to actually work with real astronomical data that comes up from one of NASA's telescope, that is the Pan-STARRS telescope, as you can see over here. So this Pan-STARRS telescope located in Hawaii is actually one of the telescopes from which we get real data, and you get a chance to work with real data, discover real asteroids, and if that discovery comes out to be genuine, you get a chance to actually name that asteroid. So your name, along with the name that you give to the asteroid, becomes kind of, immortal. So your name will be etched permanently in the records of NASA. So that is a way to not only, boast off and flaunt before your friends and enhance your professional profile, but it's also another way to actually participate in a very popular global citizen science project where you get to learn a lot. So many of our participants have already participated in ISC, and they have got a huge amount of output from that, learnings from that, and of course many of them have got discoveries as well. We have got over 120 discoveries in the past few years in ISC. So do make sure you check out our pages, and if you are from grade 6 to 12, do make sure you participate in our ISC. And if you are in the lower grade, then of course we have the fun asteroid day workshops for you, where you will be receiving a kit and we will schedule your session depending upon when you are getting the kit, and based on your convenience, we'll be scheduling the session online through Zoom itself. So you'll be interacting directly with one of us and we will be conducting the session for you. So I hope that you all sign up soon for the Asteroid Day workshops and ISC, and I cannot wait to see you all soon in those sessions as well. Now, without further ado, let's just get back to our Kahoot quiz itself. So I can already see that about 16 people have already joined. So let's just wait for a couple of minutes while others are also joining. I can see few of you are actually, putting up the message on the live chat as well. So we're just waiting for a couple more minutes. At sharp 6:10, we'll be starting with our quiz. Meanwhile, let me just share the sound as well so that we can get a nice quiz vibe. So if you have joined the quiz, then you will of course be able to see your name on my screen over here. So just make sure that you are able to spot your name on my screen. I'm just scrolling up and down so that I can give you all a confirmation that if your name is clearly visible on my screen. So I can see 19 of you have already joined, and since it's 6:10, let's just begin with the quiz. Meanwhile, the link and the QR codes will be active, the pin will be active. So if you just drop out by chance, you can rejoin using the same link and the same game pin, which will be visible on my screen throughout the quiz. It will be visible on the top left. So you will be able to constantly see the game pin. And the link is, of course, shared with you in the pinned message of the live chat. So with that, let's start with today's Cosmic Jaunt Mega Quiz for Seniors. So here's the Cosmic Jaunt Mega Quiz 2026, and here's your first question. In 2025, Dash became the first Indian to visit the ISS. So, well, good to see many of you answering correctly. The hint was kind of there on the screen, right? So this person whose picture you can see on my screen right now is Group Captain Shubhanshu Shukla, who became the first Indian to actually, first person who was literally an Indian citizen to visit the International Space Station. Of course, one of you has selected Sunita Williams, who was also gone to the ISS, but she was not an Indian citizen when she had visited. And of course, Kalpana Chawla never went to the International Space Station. So, well, with that, let's move to the next one. Let's look at the leaderboard first. So I can see Sankhajit is leading, followed by Nihar, Mohammad, Rudraksh, and Amog. But we have many more questions to go, so we'll see who is able to retain their spot till the end. And here you can see this was the mission in which, as you can see, Group Captain Shubhanshu Shukla was actually the pilot in the mission. And that made his role and impact even more powerful, because he was actually piloting the entire mission, where he actually took the spacecraft to the International Space Station, did the docking and everything. And along with that, the other crew members were from US, Poland, and Hungary. So it was kind of, four different nations who are forming the Axiom 4 crew. So interesting to see that something which is very fascinating about space. There's no barriers to, any kind of gender or caste or, nationality or something like that. Well, let's move to the next one now. Imagine you're observing the beautiful night sky. The highest point in the sky right over your head is known as Dash. And good to see again many of you answering correctly. The correct answer is zenith. So the exact top of the sky where which is exactly over your head, that is actually called as the zenith, the exact top point. Okay, and the zenith of course keeps varying, kids. Do remember that. Okay, the zenith for me will be different from the zenith from you because we are in two different locations. Wherever you are standing, the point over your head will be called as the zenith for you. So well, let's move to the next one now. Now, this is for double points, so do try to answer it correctly. A planisphere is a useful tool to study the stars and constellations. While using it, it should always be held dash. Correct answer actually is over the head. The planisphere, when you are trying to study the stars and constellations, you have to actually hold it over your head so that you are actually able to match it with the sky and parallelly study it along with that. Otherwise, if you keep it in front of your face, if you keep it below or on a table, you won't be able to use it and study the sky properly. So it always needs to be held over your head. People who might have attended our workshop did know this answer. I did notice some of you were probably not able to answer within the time. So please make sure, kids, that you are actually answering. Even if you don't know the answer, just answer anything because there is no negative marking, right? This is a fun quiz. So do make sure that you are answering. The faster you answer, the more points you get. So do remember that. Kahoot actually measures the time you are taking to answer. Let's move to the next one now. I hold two supergiant stars, Betelgeuse and Rigel, and I'm often referred to as the Hunter. Which constellation am I? Well, the correct answer actually is Orion because it's the Orion constellation, which is also one of the very prominent constellations visible in the night sky, which actually holds two supergiant stars. That means stars which have become very big in size. Okay, so they are actually called in very simple terms. They're called as a supergiant. So Betelgeuse and Rigel are the ones. So Orion is the constellation, often also referred to as the Hunter constellation, based on the Roman mythology. So, well, let's look at the leaderboard now after a few questions. So Paridhi is leading, followed by Molshri, Amog, Sharat, and Muhammad. And Paridhi has the highest answer streak also as of now. Well, we have many more to go. So let's see what is the position after a few questions. There's one star that always remains fixed in the sky. Which star is it? Well, good to see most of you answering correctly. And it is indeed the Polaris or the pole star, because that remains fixed in the sky and all the other stars appear to move around it. And that is why this picture, which you can see, is a very, very long exposure picture, like an exposure of about, let's say, 5 to 6 hours, probably, or even more, where a photographer has taken the, recorded the path of the stars. And you can see exactly at the very, very center, there is one star that is actually not moving at all. And that is your Polaris or the pole star. Let's move to the next one now. This is for double points once again. Suppose you are lost in an ocean in December. Which constellation can help you find directions to reach the shore? So something about this question is really interesting, and that is you are lost in the ocean, but in the month of December, which is a winter month. And during those months, during the winter season, it is this particular constellation that actually helps you to find the pole star or the Polaris, which eventually helps you to find the directions and you will be able to reach the shore. So it was kind of a long, short question, And if you are even a little bit aware about the constellations, you might be knowing this is one of the popular constellations called Cassiopeia, or also known as the Queen, according to the Greek mythology. So this particular constellation actually helps you find the Polaris during the winter season. So then what happens during the summer season? Well, let's say you have the Polaris at the center. So you have on one end, on the right side, you can see over here, you have the Cassiopeia. And what you can do is that you can literally divide this, because Cassiopeia is actually a constellation in which there are two triangular kind of, areas. So you have a smaller triangle and a bigger triangle. So you can literally use the, use the bigger triangle, divide it into half twice, just double bisect it. I'm sure that all of you must be knowing bisector in mathematics. So just bisect it twice and the line will actually take you to the Polaris. But the other way is to use the other part of this particular constellation, which do let me know in the chat, because I'm not going to reveal it right now. We'll reveal it later. Do let me know in the chat if you're aware which particular constellation is this on the left, which also helps you to find the north direction. That means the Polaris, but in summer season. So for this particular constellation, you can join the two bright stars at the corner, and whichever line is joining the two bright star, that eventually takes you towards the Polaris. So that's how this Polaris actually works. So you can find it from both the constellations. So do let me know. So I'm already getting some answers. It's the Ursa Major constellation. That's right. So it is basically the Big Dipper, which is part of a bigger constellation. That is the Ursa Major. Well, let's look at the next question now. You must have gone through security scanners in malls and airports. Which type of radiation is used in them? Well, the correct answer, which again, most of you have given, so good to see that, and that is actually infrared. So infrared scanners are the most widely used when it comes to security purposes, whether in malls, and airports or stuff. Although X-ray scanners are also used for your information, but again, X-ray scanners are used in more like in the cargo part, and also for even more extensive scanning, like let's say the TSA actually holds you and takes you to another room for even more investigation. At that time, probably you might be using an X-ray machine. But in general, it is the infrared that is used. And out of these four options, of course, your infrared is the correct answer. So good to see many of you actually answering correctly. I'm also getting some response as Big Dipper and Big Bear for the previous question, and that's right. So that Ursa Major, also referred to as the Big Bear or the Great Bear. So let's move to the next question now. The beautiful colors of the satellite images are actually assigned by scientists. Which criteria do they use to do so? Great to see many of you answering correctly, actually, and it is all of the above. Because energy level, surface features, elements are all the criteria which scientists use to actually determine what kind of color they should assign to each of the features of any particular object, like a galaxy or a nebula or a planet or something like that, so that we are able to get this colored image. Of course, there are a plethora of other things also that are in play. But of course, within this question, all these three options are correct. So correct answer is all of the above. And if you are not aware, the colors that we see are kind of, fake colors. That means it is the scientists who actually assign those colors, because our telescopes are not able to capture that color. Instead, they capture this kind of, picture from which we generate a black and white image. After that, we add the colors. There are a couple of processes also that are involved. We'll just have a quick look at that after a couple of questions. So let's move to the next one. Dash is the process of combining the pixels into smaller groups based on the number of photons. And the correct answer is actually binning. People who might have attended our workshop on recoloring the universe might be having an edge during this particular question. Binning is the process in which we literally combine the pixels into very, very small groups so that it becomes easier for us to analyze them. And we do that based on the number of photons, which is basically the fancy term for light particles. So based on the number of light particles that is hitting each pixel of the sensor of the telescope or the camera, we actually divide all these millions and millions pixels into small groups so that it becomes easy for us to operate on that. Let's move to the next question. This is for double points, kids. Once again, suppose you color code the below satellite image after binning. Which color represents the highest energy regions? And the correct answer, which few of you have been actually able to give, and that is actually yellow. So basically what happens is that in the previous question, we saw that binning is actually division of, the entire pixels into smaller groups. Now, what we do is that when we color code these smaller groups, we color code based on the energy level and we assign colors based on the energy level. So here you can see the average number of photons on the picture. So that means average number of light particles. More the light particles, more the energy. So that means over here, actually, the most number of photons is being reflected by this beige or skin color. But that color was actually not there in the option anyway. So the second color that has been assigned to all those pixels which have received 121 to 160 photons is actually yellow. So that means yellow becomes the right answer. And all these yellow boxes are the ones which are representing the high energy regions. Okay, so that's how we actually do the binning, and that's how we analyze, the energy levels based on binning. In fact, you can actually do the binning differently and you can generate different kind of images. For example, the first one which you can see is the normal image, which I just showed you. But if you want to highlight the low energy regions of that particular galaxy or nebula or whatever it is, you can actually change the binning. Instead of using the range of 0 to 40, you can use 0 to 15, and your lower energy regions will be actually highlighted. While if you want to highlight the high energy levels, you can increase this range. You can keep a big range of 0 to 60, 0 to 80, 0 to 100, and that means an interval of 100 photons, and you can literally, highlight only those regions which have high energy. So from the same image, we can produce different kind of images by doing the binning differently. And that's how scientists are able to determine different components, like different kind of elements, gases, and all that from the same image itself. So I believe that that gives you an idea about binning and how the coloring of these images are done. People who have attended our workshops might have had some more detailed information about that. Do make sure you participate in such kind of workshops which we conduct to get more knowledge about that. So let's move to the next one. There's a field of study where the layers of rocks are studied to determine their age. What is this field known as? And the correct answer is actually called stratigraphy. So stratigraphy, which some of you may not be knowing, it's completely fine. It's a domain where rocks are studied, their layers are studied so that we can determine their age. So it is actually called as stratigraphy. So let's move to the next question. It's a true or false. While performing stratigraphy, the layer present at the top is the oldest. Great to see most of you answering correctly, and that is actually false. Because during stratigraphy, the layer which is present at the top is not the oldest, instead, it is actually the newest one. So when you do stratigraphy, over there, the new layers, as new layers are getting formed, they are actually depositing upon the layers which are already existing. So the lower you go, the older layers you get, the higher you go, the newer layers you get. And that is why in the lower and the deeper layers, you have higher chances of finding, objects such as fossils, okay, such as buried skeletons and so on, because they have happened millions and millions of years ago. And that is why you will often find it in the older layers. So I hope that that gives you an idea about this concept of stratigraphy. Here's the next one. There are about 1,500 active volcanoes in the world. Which is the largest one? Good to see again, many of you actually answering correctly. So I do have some bunch of quite geeky people today joining the quiz. So it's actually Mauna Loa, which is the largest active volcano in the world today. You can see over here and how burning hot it is actually is. So it is actually Mauna Loa. And of course, Mount Everest, which one of you has answered, is not an active volcano anyway. It's just a mountain, tallest one, but not a volcano. Let's look at the next question. This is a puzzle kit, so you have to rearrange the options. The picture shows the electromagnetic spectrum. Arrange the given radiations from high energy to low energy. So 5 of you have actually correctly answered it. And this is the order from high energy to low energy. That means the highest one is the gamma rays, and then we have the ultraviolet, then we have the visible, and at the last we have the infrared. And for your reference, I had also attached this particular image, which actually shows you the energy level as well. It shows you wavelength, but at the bottom, the pink colored bar actually shows you the energy. And you can see the energy is much higher when you go to the right side of the spectrum. That means towards the gamma rays, the X-rays, but it keeps reducing as you move towards the left. That means gamma is the most highest energy one. Then we have ultraviolet as per the options. Then we have the visible in between over here. We have the visible spectrum, those colors which we can see with our own eyes. And at the end, we have the infrared, which has the least amount of energy out of these options. So this is the correct order, and 5 of you have actually answered it correctly. So good to see that. Okay, so do remember that, kids. So after these questions, this is how the position looks like. So we have Paridhi at the top right now, followed by Molshri, Muhammad, Rudraksh, and Sankhajit. But we have one more question to go, and the difference in points is not that high. So let's see if the final question can change these positions. When is the National Space Day celebrated every year? And the correct answer actually is 23rd of August. And that's because on 23rd of August, there was the landing of the Chandrayaan-3 mission. So Chandrayaan-3, which is one of the landmark missions of our own space agency, that is ISRO, landed on the moon on 23rd of August. Okay, so do not confuse it between landing and launch, kids. It is actually the celebration of the landing and not the launch, because we had launched a couple of times before this as well in Chandrayaan 1 and 2, but the landing towards the South Pole was not successful. In Chandrayaan 3, we landed very close to the South Pole of the moon, and that was also something that was a big achievement for us. Did it the first time, actually. So, and talking about National Space Day, since it's 23rd of August, it's just a couple of months away, not even a couple of months, just next month. And on the occasion of National Space Day, we do conduct various different kind of workshops and DIY activities and Spacetopia sessions as well. So do make sure that you follow us on our social media channels and join our WhatsApp community, the link to which will be shared to you in the live chat itself. And you can also find all the links in the description of this YouTube video. And over there in the WhatsApp community, we post up, every day we post up the updates about all the latest things that we are doing. So you'll be the first to know about any kind of workshop or session that is actually conducted on the occasion of National Space Day. And they're very exciting. Again, just like the Asteroid Day workshops, you will actually receive kits. And after you receive the kits, we'll be scheduling the sessions on Zoom and we'll be having a lot of fun, doing those workshops. And of course, along with that, do not forget to, check out the Asteroid Day workshops and the ISC program as well, which is, happening every month actually. So the ISC for this month is actually going to start in the next couple of days itself. And every month it's going to happen. So make sure that you are participating in this month itself so that the sooner you participate, the more time you get to, perform it. And then, of course, you also get to boast off before your friends as well that you are learning something in which you are handling real astronomical data. So I hope you all have actually enjoyed this Kahoot quiz. It was mainly meant for fun and covering up some of the exciting concepts. But still, let's look at the podium and see who was able to bag the most amount of points. So in third position, we have Muhammad Mukadam. In second position, we have got Monshri. And in the first position, with over 11,000 points, congratulations to the winners, and we have got Rudraj as runners-up as well. And of course, all of you are also there along with us in the around the podium, So again, thank you so much for joining. Let me just turn down the volume. So thank you so much for joining in our Kahoot quiz. That is the Cosmic Jaunt Mega Quiz. With this, we conclude the Cosmic Jaunt Mega Quiz Marathon that we are having today since the past 3 hours. So I hope you all have actually enjoyed this. And for more such fun Kahoot quizzes and more such fun, sessions where we perform activities, where we have DIY, where we get to learn through, direct interaction, do make sure you check out the Asteroid Day page. We participate in our ISC program and follow us on all our social media handles, so that you are actually able to get the latest update about all the different kind of programs that we are performing. Okay, so do make sure that you check those out. So once again, thank you so much for joining. And of course, for joining our, you can scan this particular QR code so that you are able to, follow us on our social media handles and join our WhatsApp community as well. Links are there in the description of this YouTube video itself. And if you have any queries, any questions at any point of time regarding our programs or regarding anything related to astronomy and space science, you can contact us here at hello@stemandspace.com. So with that, thank you so much for joining. And we hope to see you again very soon in some next session or in a workshop very shortly. So thank you so much for joining and see you all once again. Good night.